So we go straight to the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, this is for her remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I hope that you can hear me. Good afternoon, citizens of Ghana and our friends from the media. We thank the good Lord for this day. His mercies have brought us this far, and we are hopeful and confident that His grace will lead us to peaceful, credible, transparent, and fair elections in December 2020. In the mighty name of Jesus. On behalf of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, I welcome you to today's Let the Citizen Know encounter. Today's encounter is aimed at updating the public on the just ended filing of nominations by presidential aspirants who wish to contest the December 2020 elections. As I emphasized during the week-long process, this is one of the most critical activities in the lead-up to the December 2020 elections, without which the Commission cannot run the election. As a result, we designated Monday, the 5th of October to Friday, the 9th of October 2020 for this important process. We thank all their stakeholders for their cooperation with the Electoral Commission during this period. It is worth mentioning that most of the candidates who filed their nominations presented themselves in a courteous and civil manner, and we achieved our objective of ensuring a peaceful, seamless, and productive exercise. It has been this Commission's resolve, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to provide regular and comprehensive updates at every stage of the electoral process. Therefore, having completed the process of receiving, reviewing, and scrutinizing the nomination forms and documents from presidential and aspirants, allow me to update you accordingly. As you may be aware, to enhance and ensure a transparent, credible, fair, peaceful, and yet accountable electoral process and election in December 2020, the Commission continues to develop innovations to ensure that we carry our citizens along in all our processes. This transparency was evident throughout the registration and exhibition exercises, and indeed throughout the week-long nomination process. As a Commission, we intend to be open and transparent in all our processes and keep you, our distinguished citizens, informed in a timely manner as we inch towards the December 2020 election. This year, the Commission made the nomination forms to aspiring presidential and parliamentary candidates available online. This helped ease the burden of traveling to the Commission to pick up forms and eliminated overcrowding at the Commission's offices throughout the country, thereby curbing the spread of the COVID-19 virus. The Commission also developed a detailed checklist that embodied the criteria to be satisfied by presidential candidates as prescribed by law. This template guided the scoring and awarding of marks by teams established by the Commission to review all nomination forms submitted. Moreover, 4 months in advance, nomination forms were made available on our website, and each political party or designated representative was provided with a unique code to access the nomination forms. This eliminated the incidence of different candidates of the same political party filing nominations for the same position. This year, the Commission set up 2 teams which were tasked to review the nomination forms submitted. The technical team scrutinized the forms submitted to ensure that aspirants satisfy the qualifications as set out in law, such as the age requirements and the fulfillment of tax obligations, amongst others. The IT team also reviewed and scrutinized the forms to ensure that the candidates and their supporters were indeed registered voters on our register. We are confident that both teams have been thorough and yet fair in their work. Yet another welcome innovation was the 5-day period provided for the filing process, as opposed to the 2 days provided in previous nomination processes. This allowed enough time for aspirants to correct any errors identified in their forms. All in all, these innovations helped eliminate the confusion and tension that characterized previous nomination processes. As noted in our last Let the Citizen Know encounter, 17 presidential aspirants filed their nominations to contest the December 7th presidential election. The Commission is happy to note that for the first time in our nation's history, 3 women put themselves up for nomination for the position of presidential candidate. This is a testament to the growth of our democratic space. Now to the reasons why we are here. At the end of a thorough review process, I have the honor to present to you the presidential candidates who have qualified to contest the 2020 presidential election. And we will name them in the order of the filing, and not in any other order, but in the order in which they filed their nominations with the Electoral Commission. Mr. Alfred Kwame Asiedu Walker. The IT team found that there were no issues with the voter ID cards submitted where he was concerned and where his supporters were concerned. The team noted a number of technical issues in the sense that one person supported both the Abuakwa North and Birim North districts. And they had 2 incorrect voter ID numbers for 2 of his supporters. However, the technical issues were resolved within the nomination period. The candidate has therefore been adjudged responsive to the nomination requirements and has been cleared to contest the 2020 presidential election. The second candidate who presented his nomination forms was His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The IT team observed that there were no IT issues with his nomination forms. With the technical issues, the team noted that the candidate satisfied all requirements, and they concluded that the candidate is responsive to all the nomination requirements and therefore cleared to contest the 2020 presidential election. The third candidate to present his nomination forms was Mr. Christian Kwabena Andrews. There were no IT issues with his forms. However, it was noted that 2 supporters endorsed the form twice for the same districts. The technical issues were, however, resolved within the nomination period, and the teams concluded that the candidate was therefore responsive to the nomination requirements. Mr. Christian Andrews has been cleared to contest for the 2020 presidential election. The fourth candidate to present her nomination forms was Ms. Bridget Aikosua-Digwaligo. There were no issues with the ITs in the area of IT, and the candidate satisfied all requirements. The candidate has been adjudged responsive to the nomination requirements and cleared to contest the 2020 presidential election. The 5th person to contest to present their nomination papers was former President John Dramani Mahama. There were no IT issues discovered, and the candidate satisfied all requirements under the technical section. The candidate has therefore been adjudged responsive to nomination requirements and cleared to contest the 2020 presidential election. The 6th candidate to present nomination forms to the Commission was Madam Ekuya Bonko. She had no IT issues. However, the team noted that there were a number of the ID cards were repeated, and she was informed about this and this affected districts in Boku, Esutispi South, Hohoy, and Mion. However, the technical issues were resolved during the nomination period, and the candidate has therefore been adjudged responsive to the nomination requirements. She has therefore been declared to contest the 2020 presidential election. Madam Nana Kunedu Rawlings was the 7th candidate to file nomination papers with the commission. There were no IT issues discovered. However, 4 of the supporters were found not to be registered voters in the district that they signed for. The technical issues were, however, resolved within the nomination period, and the candidate has been adjudged responsive to the nomination requirements and cleared to contest the 2020 presidential election. The 8th candidate to present his nomination forms to the commission was Mr. Kofi Kranting. There were no IT issues with his nomination forms. However, the technical team noticed that 19 persons who had allegedly supported the CPP candidate had also supported Mr. Kofi Kranting. A further check revealed that these persons have not endorsed the candidate. Indeed, the CPP wrote to the commission about the issue, indicating that these persons were executives of their party. The technical team found that the signatures of these 19 persons were fake, and the matter was referred to the CID department of the Ghana Police Service. The CID did confirm that these signatures were fake. The candidate has therefore been disqualified, and the commission will forward this issue to the police for further action. The 9th candidate to file his nomination with the commission was Mr. Hassan Ayariga. The team found that there were no IT issues with his nomination form. The candidate satisfied all technical requirements and has therefore been adjudged responsive to contest the 2020 presidential election. The 10th person to file his nomination forms with the commission was Mr. Ivor Kwabena Greenstreet. There were no technical issues, there were no IT issues with the candidate's nomination forms. However, 19 of the candidate's supporters also endorsed the candidature of Mr. Kofi Kranting. The CPP has written to the commission about the issue and presented their party's executive photo album to confirm that the said supporters are CPP candidates. The candidate has therefore been declared to contest the 2020 presidential election. Mr. Henry Herbert Larty was the 11th person to present his nomination forms to the commission. There were no IT issues, and the candidate satisfied all requirements, and has therefore been adjudged responsive to the nomination requirements and cleared to contest the 2020 presidential election. Mr. Kofi Game was the 12th person to file his nominations with the commission. There were no IT issues. However, the technical team found that a number of the signatures of many supporters followed the same pattern, and this was the signatures were referred to the CID division of the Ghana Police Service, and the police has confirmed that indeed a good number of the signatures were fake. The candidate has therefore been disqualified and will therefore not contest the 2020 presidential election. Mr. Akwesi Odike was the 13th person to file his nominations with the commission. There were no IT issues. However, the technical team noticed that the handwritings were similar and the signatures were also similar, and referred the matter to the CID division of the Ghana Police Service. The CID division confirmed that indeed a number of the signatures were fake, and the candidate has therefore been disqualified and will not contest in the 2020 presidential election. Mr. Kwesi Busumbru of the PAP was the 14th person to file his nomination forms with the commission. There were no IT issues. However, the candidate failed to provide supporters for some districts in the Greater Accra region and had incomplete data for a number of his supporters. Indeed, some of the supporters were not registered voters in the area of authority of the district assembly to which they endorsed his candidature, and there are a good number of them. The technical team also noted that the same persons, although they had endorsed for him on the 4 separate forms, had different signatures. And what this means is that if you look at the forms, there were 4 forms, and so if you have a person called Amasewa, her signature appeared on the 4 forms, his signatures appearing on the 4 forms were different. And this was in the case of Ashanti and Northeast regions. This was referred to the CID division of the Ghana Police Service, and they noted that the signatures were fake. And he has been disqualified from participating and contesting in the 2020 presidential election. The 15th candidate to present his nomination forms to the commission was Mr. Adeni Boatin. There were no IT issues with his form. However, a good number of the 3 of the persons who supported his candidature have denied endorsing the candidate's nomination, and the commission has a letter to that effect. The commission referred the matter to the CID division of the Ghana Police Service, and they confirmed that the signatures were fake. He has therefore been disqualified from contesting the 2020 presidential election. Mr. Kofi Akpanu was the 16th person to present his nomination forms to the commission. There were no IT issues. However, there were a number of technical issues, including the fact that some of the supporting voters were not registered voters in the area of authority of the district assembly. However, the candidate resolved the technical issues within the nomination period and has therefore been cleared to contest the 2020 presidential election. Mr. David Apesara was the 17th candidate to present his nomination forms to the commission. There were no IT issues. The commission noticed that some supporting voters were not registered voters in the area of authority of the district assembly for which they endorsed his candidature. The candidate, however, resolved the technical issues within the nomination period, and he has been cleared to contest the 2020 presidential election. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, these are your presidential candidates for the 2020 presidential election. As we have emphasized time and time again, the Commission remains committed to conducting free, fair, transparent, and peaceful elections in December 2020. We entreat you, our distinguished citizens, to disregard any allegations of rigging and assertions of a flawed electoral process and election by any individual or section of our society. The transparency of our processes should give confidence to the citizenry that the Electoral Commission cannot rig an election. Indeed, for the benefit of those who are not informed about our processes, every aspect of our electoral process is monitored by the political parties. Right from registration to the election day, our political parties police and monitor all our processes. And here, I kindly crave your indulgence to summarize briefly our processes. We gazette, as you may be aware, all our registration, exhibition, and polling centers are gazetted by the Electoral Commission before any activity can take place. This means that the Electoral Commission cannot set up a registration, exhibition, or polling center in a place other than the places that appear in the Gazette. The Gazette is made available to all the political parties, and therefore in every space and location where the EC sets up a registration, exhibition, or polling center, the political parties have adequate and timely information on all those locations before any activity can take place. When we come to the registration, the EC is enjoined by law to provide political parties with a 21-day notice period of such an activity. This enables the political parties to assemble their agents to every registration center. Indeed, during the just ended registrations exercise, the political party agents at the start of the day were allowed to inspect the registration kits that were used. And the kit has, it has on its frontage the date and the time and the number of persons who had registered. And at the start of the day, it shows 0. During the course of the day, political parties monitor the comings and goings of applicants, and in actual fact document this on their own. Additionally, our machines generate a printout, a daily report indicating the number of persons who have registered at the end of each and every day. And this is done across all polling stations in the country. Therefore, any political party that means business can on its own set up a collation system nationwide to collect and collate all registered voters across the country on a daily basis. This shows the transparency of our processes, and it makes it impossible for the EC to add on to the number of persons who have registered or to take away from the number of persons who have registered. When it comes to the exhibition, the EC is enjoined by law to provide the political parties with a provisional voters register. This enables them to cross-check the number of persons who they tallied during the registration with the number of persons who are on the provisional register. And it provides for transparency and accountability in the process. And parties can then raise issues where they find gaps and receive explanations from the EC. It is important to highlight that when the register is completed, the political parties are again given final copies of the voters' register. And again, this allows them to monitor polling station by polling station, district by district, region by region, to cross-check with what took place on election day. They are also given copies of the multiples list and the exceptions list. Therefore, if in a particular polling station you had 100 people registered, however, 3 of them may have engaged in multiple registration and their names are not on the register, you can cross-check with your multiples list and you find their names there, and it enables you to do adequate tallying. When it comes to printing of the ballots, the Commission develops a schedule indicating all printing houses to be printing the register and the regions and districts that they will be, whose registers they will be printing. This schedule is provided to the political parties, and they work with us. They police the process from day one to the end. They have their agents running shifts to ensure that everything is done in an orderly manner. Again, we provide political parties with their ballot statistics to enable them verify, and therefore you know exactly the number of ballots that are to be sent to every polling station across the country. And the EC cannot add one more ballot or take away a ballot from it. This is the transparency of our processes. The ballots, before they are sent to the police armories, are sealed in the presence of the political parties, and they are provided with a serial number. And so on election day, if they discover that a seal is broken, it raises concern and parties are free to challenge that. And so you have to seal each ballot before they are sent to the armories. And the seal numbers are provided to the political parties, who in turn send those numbers to their agents at the various districts who are policing the armories. It is important to emphasize that the Commission does not send the ballots to the armories on its own. Indeed, that schedule is also provided to the parties, and their agents accompany the ballots with the security agencies and our staff all the way to the police armory. And those ballots are policed from the day they arrive there to the election day. On election day, for the benefit of those who do not know, our processes are open, they are transparent, and they are conducted in broad daylight. For the benefit of those who do not know, no polling center is set up indoors. Everything is outside and is open for every interested citizen to observe from a distance. Of course, the polling stations have the party agents to monitor and police the activities from the beginning to the end. Every party agent sits with our staff during the polling day from beginning to the end and take a tally of everything that happens. Of course, the ballots are inspected before they are opened to ensure that the seals are intact, and voting, as I mentioned, is done in the open. Counting, as we all know, is done in the full glare of party agents, the media, and the interested public. Indeed, before I became the chairperson of the commission, I observed many processes as an observer or as an innocent interested bystander. And we all know what happens. The ballots are poured out in the full glare of the general public, and they are opened in the full glare of the general public and displayed. And they call it out, whichever party. They show 1, 2 in the public. So it's not in anybody. The counting is done openly, and is done openly and is heard out. They speak it out for everybody to tabulate. And therefore, any interested bystander can have a record of who won and the results at any and every polling station. Once that is done, the results are then documented on the pink sheets and signed by the party agents. These results are then posted at the polling station, and every single Ghanaian can go there, and with a snap of their telephones, they can take a picture of it. It is only after this that the results are sent to the commission. And by the commission, I mean the regional offices. The parties are there as well, and they do their tallying, and it is then sent to the National Collation Center. At the National Collation Center, we also have the parties here. And so as the results come in, the parties review the reports to ensure that it tallies with what they have on record, what have been given to them by their agents, and they approve this before the results are brought to the chairman or the chairperson of the Electoral Commission for certification. It is only after their review, after this thorough process, that the results are brought. And for those of you who have observed many processes, you will know that when the results are trickling in from the regions, we have party agents there who review the results to cross-check and to make sure that indeed this is what happened on the field. It is important to mention that of the field officers that the EC recruits, it provides the political parties with the photographs and the contact details of all these officials. And therefore, any political party who has any issue with any person makes the commission aware, especially if the person or the staff is a known rep or a supporter of the political party. They write to the commission does its own investigation and takes and dismisses such a person. This is the transparency of our process. And therefore, the EC can never rig an election. The processes are transparent, they are credible, they are tight, and they are accountable. And we cannot for any reason have a flawed election with this kind of process that has been hailed globally. I think even in advanced democracies, this transparency does not exist. Herein lies the transparency and openness of our process, making it difficult for anybody to rig an election or for any process to be flawed. Can anybody here or can anybody in the public tell us at which point of this transparent process the EC can rig the election? We use this platform to call on all political parties and stakeholders who have genuine concerns with the processes outlined to raise them in the full glare of the public. Once we as a commission are informed about the weaknesses and gaps in the processes outlined, we will take immediate steps to address these gaps, close and seal the gaps, and report same to the public in an open, transparent, and accountable manner. Until then, we entreat the naysayers to cease their onslaught of trying to discredit a thorough and credible process, and their onslaught of trying to discredit a commission that has been open and transparent and accountable to the people that it serves, that is the good people of this country. If for nothing at all, the current commission has opened up all its processes to the public and removed the cloaks of secrecy that shrouded our activities and operations in the past. We have laid bare our processes for all to see. Today, a good number of the total number of persons who registered by district, region, as well as their sexes and ages are known by any interested citizen. This is not a secret. The challenges we encountered during the exhibition exercise were discussed openly by the Commission, solved in a timely manner, and reported upon promptly. Constituencies such as Ashiaman, which had some gaps in data, all have their issues resolved. Indeed, just last week, we opened our doors to enable citizens observe the filing of nominations by aspiring presidential candidates. Through our media partners, we have brought our processes and operations to every home. We have been transparent in our dealings, and we intend to remain so. As we head towards the 7th December election, we urge all of you, our distinguished citizens, to work with us to strengthen and uphold the integrity of our systems and the Commission as a whole. Our doors remain open, and we assure our stakeholders that we are receptive to constructive feedback and advice. Indeed, the feedback and advice received from well-meaning Ghanaians has helped to enrich our work and enabled us to serve you better. Before we close our curtains to our Let the Citizen Know encounter today, we wish all our qualifying candidates the best of luck in their bid to ascend the office of the presidency. We urge all of them to engage in a decent campaign, a campaign based on policies and programs that will lead to the betterment of our society. As referees, our role is to arrange and organize orderly, fair, transparent, and peaceful and credible elections. And we assure you that we are working hard to do just that. We do not have the power to determine who wins the election. It is not in our control to determine the outcome of the election. That power lies with the good people of our dear country, Ghana. It is the citizens and the citizens alone who can determine who should lead them and not the Electoral Commission. It is the candidate who is given power to lead this country by the citizens of this country who will be declared President of the Republic of Ghana by the Electoral Commission come the 7th of December 2020. Thankfully, the Electoral Commission has institutionalized a fair, open, transparent and accountable process to guide the declaration of results, and I think I've outlined that. To the aspiring presidential candidates who did not make this process, we wish you better luck next time. Your filing fees of 100,000 cedis will be refunded to you. To you, our distinguished citizens and our friends from the media, we thank you for believing in us and for walking this journey with us. We pledge that we will conduct ourselves in truth and integrity and organize a fair, credible, transparent, peaceful election come 7th December 2020. We will not let you down. On your part, we charge you to uphold and defend the good name of Ghana and her institutions. So help us God. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. Let the bells of peace ring from this time and throughout this country, the 16 regions of this country, all across the borders of this country, now and forevermore. Amen. Amen.